Hi, my name's Lindy Cowling and welcome to my channel. I hope you're all doing well in the last week of March, unbelievably already. And apologies if the colouring looks a bit strange on this video. I did debate putting on the overhead light, which I could easily get up and do, but I thought, oh no, we're filming this way, so I've just got a lamp up the corner, so I probably look like something that's just staggered out of a crypt or something, or a zombie movie. So this kind of deathly pale colour is as much to do with the lighting as anything else. So the title of this video, which only came to me about 30 seconds ago before I came on here, is a bigger surprise to me as it is to you. But the title of the video, and hopefully it'll be quite a short one, is the inversion of energies or inverted energies. So starting from the beginning, or starting from the top, as I like to say, when we are talking about energy, and let's face it, everything is energy. We are made of energy. The world is made of energy. Everything around us is made of energy, and we interact with that energy and interplay with that energy all through our different stages of awareness, perceptions, evolution, and states of consciousness. So there's, it's called life, and it's our expression of life and our interplay of life and our embodiment of life as consciousness and as energy. And why I've called this video the inversion of energy is, as you know, if you are a follower of this channel, if you're someone that has subscribed to it for quite a few years now, 4 years since I've been out on YouTube, you will know, as I say over and over again, that this is an experiential channel, which means I only talk about, share, impart from a place of having gone through those exact experiences myself, gone through those shifts in awareness myself, gone through those changes in my life myself, gone through those states of evolution myself, gone through those shifts of consciousness myself, or I am working with many other people that are doing that. But nearly always on this channel, it doesn't come from just working with people doing that. It's almost always that I have gone through that, tickly nose, shift and state of awareness and consciousness myself as well. That is the way I prefer to do it. Can't really envisage that changing. And if you ask me why, it's because if you've actually experienced it yourself, you then have not only an awareness on all different levels, but you have embodied that shift and consciousness and energy yourself. So it isn't something you've read in a book or an idea you've got from outside of you. You've actually shifted up through the gears by going through it yourself. And hence, there's an authenticity to it, a truth to it, because you've lived through it or been through it. So if you're new to the channel, I'll just explain. My background is working in energy in a therapeutic setting with people. This is now year 18. qualified in hypnotherapy, basic qualifications in psychology, 3 different qualifications in healing, and I come from a long lineage of healers. One was a very known healer in her time. 18 years experience in hypnosis, 18 years experience in past life regression, future life progression, and all of those different kind of things. Born to a lineage of healers and psychics and mediums. Again, one who was very well known, and naturally have those abilities myself. So I didn't have to try and make them come along. They were just there, and it's gone down through the lineage. Now, the reason I'm explaining this is so I can go on to the next bit, so it wouldn't make sense otherwise. So one of the senses that I use, apart from the clairvoyance and the mediumship and the psychic-y side of it, and I don't really work so much on the psychic-y side of it anymore, because as I have shifted and changed, everything that I do comes more from the heart now, and it's hard to explain it, but it's different to me working psychically. But it is tuning in, but it's tuning in from a level of heart's awareness and consciousness. And one of the abilities I have, apart from the clairvoyance, is clairaudience. Now, clairaudience is when you can, how can I put it, receive information or input through your ear, and then you can impart what you're receiving to the work you're doing, or to the client you're talking to, or the client you're seeing. And when I say information in my ear, I don't hear people talking or voices in my head or voices in my ear. It's really hard to explain. Look, if you have, if somebody blows a dog whistle, the dog can hear that sound and we can't hear it. Well, the easiest way to describe it is, I know the input is coming in. It's always been through the left ear with me. And then I have the input, the awareness of what I want, the information that comes to me, not from my logical brain or not from my imagination, but from hearing a particular frequency that the information comes on. So if I was working with someone and I needed some particular information to help them, if I didn't get it all clairaudiently and it come out my mouth, then I get clairvoyantly pictures, images come up, or words or stuff like that, and then the client will validate back to me, yes, that's absolutely correct, etc., etc. Now, the reason I've gone off on a tangent explaining this, long-winded, is if I didn't, then the next bit wouldn't make the least bit of sense. So I hear clairaudiently the frequency or vibration of energy. So when I'm talking about the inversion of energies, I'm not talking about that in a positive way. The title of this video, the inversion of energies, is not the running of energies in a helpful way. So when I pick up like a radar, like an antenna, clairaudiently, the inverted energies, I sense a particular frequency which is really horrible to sense. I'm explaining it from my perception, but other people that are experiencing those inverted energies that aren't clairaudient would experience them differently, and it would be like a herd of animals. Again, I'm only using animals because it's an easy way to describe it, that are hearing. There's a pitch that is just beyond the level of hearing that sets their central nervous system into a spin, sets the teeth on edge like having nails drawn down glass. And it makes them agitated and irritated and very obsessive and jumpy and on edge and on guard. This would be the perfect way to describe it. So they would have, like everybody would have a sense of it, but they may not be able to make logical, conscious sense of it, and not even realize that it's there in the background. Now, because I work the way I work, and because I am the way I am, and that was the way I was born, and because I've worked in those lines for 18 years, it's like using a muscle over and over again. It gets a bit fine-tuned to particular things. I actually sense it very acutely, so I can spot it a mile off now. And I feel that it's almost like if you were to play a sheet of music in a particular way, and it would be harmonious and flow beautifully. Sorry, sickly face again. But then you played that music backwards and kept interrupting the flow of it and played it backwards. Instead of having that beautiful synchronistic balanced flow, it would be agitated and broken up and disrupted and make that teeth on edge kind of thing. This is what I see threaded through many parts of the energy or light worker arena. Now, I see it or hear it in many different ways, and it takes me about 30 seconds to just click on a particular YouTube video or that someone's done, or a video of someone in a seminar or something like that. It doesn't matter what it is. I'm just talking along these lines. It could be a TV program, but you don't see many TV programs in mainstream that ever air anything to do with energy stuff. So mainly through let's say the internet, this is. And you can pick that energy, you can hear it, you can pick it out immediately. It doesn't take any time at all. And like I say, for me, it's to do the clairaudience, but someone else, it might just suddenly make them feel really like agitated, aggressive, depressed, angry, sad. A very common behavior when people have been immersed themselves in watching or linking in with these frequencies intentionally or usually non-intentionally, is they become very neurotic, obsessive-y, almost fanatic, almost like get a bit hysterical. A lot of that is because it's an inversion of energy. It's a clash. It's a clash between the normal symbiotic, normal flow of balanced vibration or wave band or consciousness against something that's, I'm going to use that word, disrupting it. And it causes this agitation, hence the obsessive behavior. So if you have somebody that has a family history or a background of obsessive behavior, or something like neurosis or BDP, borderline personality disorder, narcissism, sociopath, blah blah blah, and then they are subjected inadvertently to this agitated, inverted energy that will set off some of those patterns in them, because they have inadvertently, let's say, taken on some of that family history on a consciousness level, epigenetically, and it will agitate and come up against that, causing, like I say, some of the traits that I'm talking about. And most people who weren't, let's say, clairaudience, would, the most common behavior would be almost like fanatical, neurotic, obsessive-y, agitated, these kind of behaviors. Now, if they are someone that is quite a long way along the track of their evolution, it won't take them long, probably a matter of days or a matter of weeks, maybe a few months, to recognize it and to move through that so that it doesn't affect them in that way again. But if they are not, then they get entangled with those inverted energies. And of course, it all connects in with the videos I brought out a few years ago now on when somebody is entangled or caught then in a loop. Instead of a smooth flowing frequency of consciousness, if they're entangled in a loop of it that goes round and round and round, they can then get themselves caught up in many other things, like that kind of pit of despair, that rag doll in the washing machine, those control energy patterns, all of those different kinds of things. I can't really say to you, I was going to say, as I always say, be discerning about the kind of material you're watching and how long you're watching it for. But I can't really, that's too simple, really. That's too simplistic, because people are hugely drawn to these inverted energies because they're heavily implemented and woven round many, on the surface, let's say, clean-cut arenas. And if you ask me why people, when it's such a clash, are heavily drawn to inverted representations of energy, both in spoken words, both in sound, visual presentation. I don't feel there's limitations to this in the energy world, the light worker industry. I mean, across the board, in all aspects of society, these are energetics. There's no part of society or life that isn't involved with energy, whether people accept or realize it or not. Why people are so drawn to it is those inversions of energy seem to appeal to the very primal part of human beings, the very instinctual, survival, primal parts of human beings. I almost links in with that video I brought out just a few weeks back on the manipulations of chakras by control energies. It almost is linking into that. These inversions of energies thrive very well in the arena of polarized thought, polarized action, and polarized lives, polarized circumstances. So they thrive very well in the battle scenario, where one is at war with oneself, one is at war with the other, one is at war with one belief system opposed to another belief system. And if you said to me again, why would inverted energies thrive in a polarized scenario more? It's because it's a more primal, instinctual, reactive state, and appeals to the more unconscious mind, the more, let's say, animal mind, really, of us as human beings. If you were to say to me, do inverted energies occur naturally? I feel that in terms of nature and in terms of the quantum world, the inversion of energy does occur naturally, but has been or is being heavily manipulated in order to take people into a state of entrapment so that all of that energy that is being generated and offered by those people, and all of that energy that is being, I would almost say, drained from those people, can be used by the initiators of the inversion. Who am I going to say the initiators are? Well, my words for the initiators may be different to someone else's and your words. But let's say the initiators being non-terrestrial intelligence that has never had nor will ever have humanity's best interests at heart. So the reason I'm bringing this video out is in the inversion of energy is something I've noticed more and more and more in the arena of work that I am at the moment working in. Part of that will be my sensitivity to it has heightened significantly over the years of using that muscle, shall we say, over and over again, like a tuning fork. So part of it is that and that awareness, that increase in awareness now. But I do feel that there is a general whipping up, a frenzy, a whipping up. I'm going to call it a hysteria. It's a hysteria kind of frequency going on in certain arenas of human evolution or human energetics. So say I have a client book a session with me. I now know, even from the first line of that email, exactly where they're coming from, because I can hear clairaudiently if they're coming from the hysteria, inverted energy that they've got entangled with, or if they are coming from a place of the heart or a state of being conscious. If they are not entangled with any of that stuff, it's very clear to me to hear. And what happens, which is not great for them, and it's certainly not great for me, is if I am working with someone that is in that entangled, inverted energy, it can be quite exhausting, because instead of what I'm imparting to them by reading their energy, and I don't just read people's energy, let's clarify this. When I'm in session with someone, the whole point of it is to help them to disentangle themselves, to help them move forward. Whatever the situation they're in, there's, let's say, a healing element to it, to enable them to get clarification and help them to move forward. Because half of it is the awareness. Because when someone's totally entangled with their nose on the wall, they can't even see they've got their nose on a wall until you help disentangle them so they can step back and get some clarity. And that's half of it. The other half of it is them accepting, because they're so fixed or entrenched in a belief system by then. Whatever the scenario, it's helping them get that 360-degree view again instead of that 90-degree view. So if I'm working with someone that is coming from an inverted frequency, and what's happened is it's not their fault, they have got entangled in an inverted frequency, like a rabbit getting tangled in barbed wire, for all sorts of reasons. Like I say, sometimes it's the family dynamics, sometimes it's the scenario as a whole, sometimes it's their own belief systems, and it's like a minefield, really. You know, people walk into it and get caught up at different points. If they are coming from that inverted energy, what I will find is a phenomena that I'm seeing a lot now, and to be honest, you know, I'm having to create some new boundaries with here, because what they will do is, instead of allowing me to help them disentangle, they will almost fight me on helping them. And they will do this by constantly interrupting me, questioning me. It's almost like having an argument with someone, which is just crazy, because I don't do sessions that are conversations. I do sessions that are all based on healing and empowerment for the person I'm working with. And when they are an inverted energy, they are like a rabbit tangled up in barbed wire that would prefer sometimes to stay tangled in the barbed wire rather than have some wire cutters come in there and them set them free, or them set themselves free, me giving them the wire cutters. Now, the reason I'm mentioning this is this has come up quite a lot. It's come up a lot in the last couple of months. And these are the people where I'm having to create very strong boundaries now, and I can spot it even before they've booked a session with me now. So it's that quick off the mark. And they are the ones where the session goes on and on and on. And instead of it being 1 hour, I've given them 2 hours and not charged them for 2 hours. And really, I know I've done everything I could possibly have done, and they still have got their mindset fixed in a particular area. So this will be something that's really, to be honest, which I've made the decision here on camera, that if I get an email from someone that is coming from there, I am not in my heart of hearts going to refuse to work with that person. I wouldn't be comfortable with that, and I don't think that would do them any favors. But I'm going to, it's almost a reminder to myself, is make a note in my diary from that second on to have very, very firm boundaries there that I'm going to work within with that person, and make it very clear to them from very early on in that session that if they are going to almost fight me on it, then that session cannot continue. I don't mean disagree with me on something. I mean, they actually, it's like a fight, really. It's quite extraordinary. It's quite extraordinary. And I'm seeing it more and more because I think I'm more aware of it. And as I have become more distance from being entangled in inverted energies, which I most definitely was entangled with that, a number of years back myself. It's almost like people see you like a lighthouse, and they have the opportunity to go towards that lighthouse because they are a lighthouse in their own right, and it reminds them of who they are. But it's almost like safer to stay in the stormy sea, or they don't want to leave the stormy sea because that means facing reality, or a reality that they would rather not face, and they'd rather stay in the choppy water. So I'm waffling a bit here, but I'm trying to explain it from my perspective, but also what I'm seeing going on. Those inverted energies are extremely prevalent within the twin flame union belief systems and arenas. I have no hesitation in saying that, because that is an arena I have worked within and been on the perimeters of for a long time. I don't have any hesitation in saying I was one of the first people out there almost blowing the whistle on aspects of that arena. Why? Because I could read energy. I wasn't just someone who came through that having an experience and sharing it. I was already able to sense and read energy. That's part of who I am. It's not something I had to go learn. I could already do it. And so I was already onto it, not that far in when all the red flags were coming up. There's something very odd was going on. And that's another point I'm going to make here. And this might even go onto another video at some point. There are a high number of people approaching me that are being told by people working in energetic sessions or settings, shall I say, all over the world, that when they go and attend these people's seminars or events, these people are being told by the person running it, "You're my twin flame." I've heard this so many times now that it's only going to be a matter of time before the same names start coming up, the same energetic workers telling multiple people this, because I'm seeing it so many times. And I'm not hearing very nice information here. I'm hearing about gross misuses of energy where these women are more or less being psychically attacked and feel things happening in their body, and they say that's nothing to do with me. They're having their all sorts of things, thoughts invaded, all sorts of stuff. It's only going to be a matter of time before the same names start cropping up. At the moment, that's happened once already, actually, where the same name has come up for 2 or 3 women now. And I'm not making the point here that it's just men doing this. I'm sure there are women doing it as well, but I'm mostly hearing the feedback from women that it's men. And these women, again, have made large changes to their life or sent thousands of pounds in money to these men, running into a period of months or years. Same story. The man, on the perimeter of their life, but going and telling lots of different people that they're the twin flame. I think my sigh says it all, really. Why we know that anything and everything is possible. And I've seen all sorts of things in my life, things that you wouldn't believe, like a Harry Potter film, actually. Wonderful things, amazing synchronicity, and awful things. So why we know that there are many things that are possible, I'm going to come back to that word again, discernment. Just because you connect with somebody in an energy setting does not mean they are coming from clear, pure, clean energy consciousness. Just because this person seems to know what they're talking about, or seems to have a great popularity, or seems to have a lot of followers, does not mean to say it's legitimate clean energy. Now, also the flip side of that, just because someone does have a lot of followers and are knowledgeable doesn't mean to say they're negative either. This is all a question of discernment and balance. We live in a world of polarization. You have some of this and some of that. It's all a question of judgment. But what really, really, really winds me up is the stories I'm hearing of people going into very vulnerable situations when they're wide open in energy, when they're going in to see someone that works in energy in a personal therapy session, or someone that's running a seminar, or someone that's running an event, and the whole audience is wide open, psychically wide open to suggestion, almost in a hypnotic state. And I know all about hypnosis because I'm qualified in it. And then these suggestions are made to them, or there are breaches in that setting of a misuse of energy. It really winds me up. Really winds me up, because then that person doesn't have, well, they've been it's like an abuse of power, like a doctor doing that to a patient. There's been an abuse then, there's been boundaries crossed then, that person, the person sitting in the audience didn't know those boundaries are being crossed until they've been crossed. And like I say, there are people out there that work beautifully in energy. I can think of some automatic examples of that straight away that are squeaky clean, and anybody in their audience sitting in a room, a seminar, would be, I think, flying high. Well, a couple of examples straight off I can think of is Lee Harris. Totally resonate with Lee Harris, have done for a number of years. squeaky clean heart energy. Another one I really do like actually is Matt Kahn. Another one, 2 males straight away, wonderful. And I'm sure there are many out there that I'm not naming here that are working fantastic. But I just keep hearing these stories coming back from misuse of energy. And like I say, I'm sure there are women doing that as well. It's just that I have more women clients than men, about 2/3 women and 1/3 men. So I'm hearing those stories much more from women than men. And it shocks me how many women are falling for it. But then I know how powerful this is, you see, especially if you are vulnerable and you're wide open energetically and someone interacts with you in your energy field. How do I know this? Because it happened to me. Happened to me. It's an experiential channel. Because it happened to me, I understand it personally, but I also understand it professionally, but I also can hear the frequency clairaudiently. And how these people operate is they hide behind the spiritual persona energy. So at first glance, you read it as, oh, that's really lovely spiritual energy. But it's not theirs. It's like that video I brought out, Camouflage Connections. They are running the energy through them like a process of osmosis, or holding a bloody great spiritual mirror up in front of them, which isn't actually them, from the heart them. And people are linking with that and not actually the authentic person. Well, there isn't an authentic person behind it. And so it goes on. So I have sidetracked here again a bit, but then it is all interconnected with what I'm talking about here, the inversion of energy. How do you know an inversion of energy has taken place? There's usually some dead giveaways again. It's all about the person. It's all about their power, them being worshipped. I haven't heard one tale where one of these people has been actually not rich. They've all been rich. They've all been affluent. People have sent them loads of money, thousands upon thousands. I mean, I don't mean comfortable so you can make a living. I mean super rich. I'm hearing the same old tales over and over again. One lady I worked with, well, I was going to say something else. No, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to go into details. But put it this way, they're not all horses out the same stable, but they are in personality. There are very big similarities, and it's only a matter of time before the same names keep coming up. As people become more aware and more discerning, the jig's going to be up here. People are going to be onto it, just like the whole thing has blown in Hollywood, just like the paedophilia networks are being exposed all over the world. Just like the inequality between men and women, loads of stuff is being generated and coming up now. Lots of the misuse of energy and stuff under the surface is coming out. What I'm talking about now is just another aspect of it. It is inevitable at some point that is going to burst, that particular boil. And it will come out. And like I say, when that happens, there'll be a lot of people that feel empowered and almost set free, but there'll be a lot of people that have to go through a process of recovery after going through something like that, especially when it's something or someone that you believed in so much. It's a hell of a shock to the system. But it's all connected in with the inversion of energy. It's all the same kind of thing. That entanglement, those inversions, disruptor energies, supermassive black holes that I've exposed, control energies, unrequited love programs, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. It's all the same thing. The great news is it's starting to become more and more obvious. As more people become conscious, as more people go into their quantum hearts, as more people become aware, their state of perception changes and they are able to sense on a level that they couldn't sense on before, which means their bullshit antenna is on 24/7 and they can tell quite clearly, regardless of the arena it's in, whether it's in politics, entertainment, any society system out there, education, light worker industry, any arena, they can tell very, very quickly something isn't right. And what I would say is you need to take notice of that. You need to take notice of it. Because it may well be that it's not an expansion, an extroverted, expanded energy that you're tapping into, which is empowerment, sovereignty, authenticity, but an inverted, heavily programmed, contaminated minefield to take you away from your empowerment, away from your sovereignty, and away from who you truly are. Wow, this is a very long video. Didn't know it was going to go that long. On that note, I will love you and leave you. As always, thank you for watching the channel. Thank you for supporting me as the channel in all the ways that you do. And hopefully the lighting won't make me look too pasty-faced and whatever. It's the lighting in here. I should have really been bothered to get up and put the overhead light on, but hey, let's do it this way. Look after yourself, guys, and if you're in the UK, don't forget the clocks go forward 1 hour tonight. Bye.